Alright guys, welcome to class. So today we are going to be talking about the cell structure. Alright, so like you can see on the board, this is a typical animal cell. In another video, we're going to be talking about the plant cell. But in today's video, let's focus on the animal cell. Alright, so the cell has different structures that enables it to function properly. Alright. Okay, now we are going to be looking at this structure one after the other, and we're going to be knowing their functions. All right, so now let's start from the cytoplasm. All right, the cytoplasm is the fluid part of the cell, the watery part of the cell. Now, what is the function of the cytoplasm? It holds other cell organelles. All right, it holds other cell organelles. It also facilitates chemical reaction in the cell. You know, a chemical reaction cannot take place without a fluid or water. All right, so it helps to facilitate all the chemical reactions that happens inside the cell. All right, so that's the function of the cytoplasm. Okay, let's move over to the cell membrane. Now, the cell membrane actually is like a protective structure. It is made up of a phospholipid bilayer that helps to protect the cellular organelle from drifting away from the cell. All right, so it's just like a fence that holds all the cellular organelles and the cytoplasm as well. All right, so that is the function of the cell membrane. All right, let's move to this nucleus. Now, the nucleus is one of the most important organelle in the cell. All right, now what's the function of the nucleus? It holds the genetic material. All right, so without this nucleus, this cell cannot replicate itself. The production cannot be possible without the nucleus. The nucleus contains the genetic materials, right? That is passed from parents to offspring. So that's the function of the nucleus. And the genetic material is also known as the DNA. For those that don't know, the DNA is the genetic material, all right? So let's move over to lysosomes. Now, lysosomes, they are important because they contain digestive enzymes that helps to digest food, right? It helps to digest protein, breaks down protein and other protein, carbohydrate and other types of food into smaller units that can be assimilated by the cell, right? So that's the function of the lysosome. It contains digestive enzymes. Okay, so now let us look at these structures here. You see these structures, this and this, they are called the endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum. And it functions in the storage of calcium and other minerals. Okay, now there are two types of endoplasmic reticulum. We have the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, now this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum and this is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. You can see the structure has no other structure on it, all right? But this one, it has other structures on it, all right? So the difference between this and this is the presence of the ribosome, all right? The ribosome is responsible for the production of proteins and lipids, all right? The ribosome is responsible for the production of proteins and lipids. And then I'm going to talk about that separately in another class when we are going to be talking about protein synthesis, how proteins are synthesized. From the nucleus, it goes to pick out a particular genetic material and brings it out to the cytoplasm and begins to make protein. Now that protein, the making of that protein now happens on the endoplasmic reticulum. So these are ribosomes that are about to make proteins. All right. So that's the difference between the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. All right. So that is that. Now another structure we have here is the mitochondrion. Like we all know, mitochondrion is the powerhouse of the cell. This is where all the energy in the body is generated. All right. And the energy is stored in form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, right? That's how the energy is stored. All the energy needed by this cell is being generated by the mitochondrion. All right, mitochondria is plural, mitochondrion is singular. We use mitochondrion because it is just one in this cell. Okay, now we also have another structure. Okay, this structure here, it is called the Golgi body, Golgi bodies, or you call it Golgi apparatus. Now, what's the function of the Golgi apparatus? It helps in packaging and processing of proteins and other materials. All right, it packages and distributes proteins and other materials in the cell. Okay, so these are the basic structures that can be found in the cell. These are the basic structure of the cell. All right, so we also have other structures that are in the cell, but we use this because we are trying to look at the typical animal cell. That this is a representation of all animal cells. All right, so these are the basic structures found in the animal cell. Okay, so in our next video, I'm going to be talking more on maybe protein synthesis or synthesis of other biomolecules in the cell. All right, so thank you and see you in the next class.